Alright, welcome back to Augmented Naturally. I'm your host, Jess Dorm. This is our episode 6 of the podcast. Now, the things we're going to be talking about in this episode are the raid hour. We're going to be talking about Pokemon Go, a little bit of Ingress, the evolution theory for the Gen 5 Pokemon. Some may feature trading. More to come with that. Our augmented one storm of call-in missions, things to do when there's nothing to do, and some of my observations on the microbiome and nutrition. Stay tuned. So the things to bring up if you're listening or watching this podcast in time for it: Mewtwo raid hours will be happening on a Tuesday for once, and this Tuesday will be October 8th. It will feature Psyshock, have the chance to be shiny, and they've even announced that you'll get 2 extra free passes from the Inconvenience as well, which is awesome for anyone that is trying to do free to play, get as many as they can, and I get to try and see if I can get off of work. So, fun, just the way it works out. Maybe this will be my future job though if you support our page. I'm kidding, we don't have a Patreon yet. But anyway, just keep listening and liking, and share with whoever you can, share with your communities, and contribute to the podcast in whatever way you can virtually. Besides the Mewtwo raid hour, Mewtwo will still be available in EX raids starting October 5th, which the passes were just released for that. Shadow Ball will be an exclusive move that you get from the EX raids. In addition, that the shinies will be available for it as well. Currently, Giratina, the altered form, there we go. Giratina altered form is available in raids until October 17th. Afterwards, we could get a spooky visit from a certain Gen 4 Pokemon, but Darkrai, a ghost dark type that is on point towards that spooky aesthetic that everyone is looking for Halloween. Whether it happens or not, I'm not sure. They may just do the Giratina origin form, the serpent looking one, afterwards, and that'll just roll us into Halloween. And who knows if they'll actually do an event between then that will release multiple raid bosses and give a bit of RNG to the raid groups. That way they can fit in more spooky bosses in there. And so we'll see what actually comes of it. Now, for those unfamiliar with Ingress, they're currently doing a global challenge event of their own. And this is their shard challenge. They basically have a shard spawn on top of a portal in some place. And in order to get that shard to a target, you have to set up Ingress in-game points, link to those points, and get from, say, Philadelphia to Oklahoma. Still shards on the board that people are still getting to the target portals. Now, it's not just like, okay, take from this town, go to that town. Actual states to other states, or other countries to other countries. We actually had the UK, they had their shard, and because Europe is very close-knit and Ingress links cannot go through other Ingress links, it made more sense to go over the ocean. So, down to Florida, and actually went from Florida to Texas to Oklahoma and scored. Really awesome feats of global teamwork from passionate players all across. So very exciting that Ingress was able to complete an event of such caliber and while still playing within the terms of service. Obviously, there's no one person that went from the UK all the way to the US, but during this event. They may have not done this during the event, but they've accumulated a key, which the keys are essential towards making a link from point A to point B. In order to link portal A to portal B, you have to have a key for that. And that key is basically the toll that you pay to travel that amount of space, in addition to various other ingress points that it has to be a certain level, might need a certain amount of items attached to it, modifications as they call it. Once the portals meet their specifications, you still send the link to the other portal, and then, as they call checkpoints, every 4 hours the server takes a score or takes tally of something, and those were the intervals that the shard would jump from one portal to the other. So if you weren't working in tandem with the other faction could come in, destroy the portal, destroy the link, and try and claim it for their own, and go with their own ideas or mission. But that's why this is such a big feat for Ingress players to actually achieve. The other thing of note is the last event that actually happened in Ingress was a couple months ago, and it was a Myriad hack challenge. And this hack challenge actually failed, and the players had to face the penalty of reduced hacking speeds. And obviously there's always the naysayers that think that, okay, they made this challenge so challenging that players had no chance of actually completing it. Which, it was actually difficult. You needed to be picture perfect when it came to hacking a portal, upgrading as you go, and visit upwards of 300 types of portals throughout that. Which in some areas can be very difficult, and it required teamwork, but a lot of communities only have a certain amount of Ingress players because, as we slightly alluded to earlier, Ingress points can't overlap with other Ingress points. Because you're making triangles and one person throwing a line of a triangle the wrong direction can mess up your entire day's worth of plans, and to erase those links is a bit pricey. On the other note about Ingress Niantic coming up with such a difficult challenge, the other thing about Niantic actually giving such a difficult challenge is that they're willing to set a goal that isn't just a goal that will arbitrarily get met by the player base and that players don't actually have to work towards anything. Quite often, sometimes these companies will make a goal just for the sake of building some activity amongst the players, but these goals don't feel impactful to the players due to their high numbers. So they feel as though if everyone plays only a little bit, they'll be okay. But in this case, it required players to do a lot of work, not just for a medal, but for making the back onto Pokemon Go a little bit. Adventure Sync. There's a new feature that's come out, it said it's released, called Adventure Sync Nearby, which it should alert you to any nearby Pokemon as your phone is closed. It'll send a notification through your standard notification system on your device. The way that we think that this system will actually work is similar to the way the Go Plus, Pokeball Plus, and the other Catch Assist, which I don't endorse nor use, and eventually the Pokemon Go Plus Plus that'll be used for Pokemon Sleep, which we're still waiting on a little more information about that. Probably once Pokemon Sword and Shield for the Switch come out, they'll release that information in tandem with it, as well as Pokemon Home, and you may catch us doing other things online. But anyway, either way. I know, people can't see you. Go play in the background. There's only so much I can show in the background, sorry guys. The yard is okay. It's not the... Still working on some things, so... Anyway. So, the way that we figure the Adventure Sync nearby Pokemon notifications will actually work will be like the Pokemon Go Plus and the Pokeball Plus do. Whenever a Pokemon that is considered a shadow that is not in your Pokédex it'll give a special notification with a yellow buzz and a special vibration. This vibration difference is a very nice aesthetic to it because it's very distinct and you typically can distinguish what it is as long as you're not just pressing at the slightest vibration from the Go Plus or Pokeball Plus. That's when you can get yourself into a little trouble, as many of us have the journal scars to prove it. Journal scars, for those who may not have the Pokeball Plus or the Pokemon Go Plus, that may not have those, is when you're catching stuff with a Pokeball Plus or a Pokemon Go Plus, it only throws one ball, just a straight throw at the Pokemon. Lower CP Pokemon and other lower evolved forms may catch, but they may not, because it's just a simple Pokeball and a simple straight throw, no berry, no bonus, only your catch bonus, we believe, from your medals. And the fact of the matter is, you only get one shot. Even if that fails to catch, the Pokemon will flee the second that button is pressed, or it will catch the second that button is pressed. Even though it does do that standard buzz, 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 that's just a identifier that you will know if you don't have the app opened. But the discrete... Either way, when you press the button, it will either catch or not catch. Afterwards, you can look inside your journal and see all the interactions that happened, and see anything that ran from you or was caught by you. Obviously, anything caught by you will show up in your Pokemon storage, but anything not caught will show up in your journal. Which, I've had a few Snorlaxes just randomly happen upon the path as I was going home, wasn't paying attention, maybe it slipped up, and one ball out of Snorlax, yeah, he's not hungry. He's not having that one ball for lunch, so he's going to run away. Simple as that. The other thing is, now the journal will even show shinies, as some people have noticed. So, even if you're doing both in tandem, so you realize, okay, I'm going to click on this, click on this, click on this, and you click the Go Plus as well. If that Pokemon shows up shiny, and your Go Plus tries to catch it first, even if you already have it on your screen and you're ready to catch it, once that one ball is thrown, that encounter will basically disappear or bug out to a way that there's no way of redeeming it, no matter what you do. That app it'll be gone. The journal will show shinies in the log, so if you're using the Go Plus and nothing ventured, nothing lost, you have plenty of Pokeballs to spare because it will burn through them. It'll give you a nice, clean, fresh start for the screen as well. But just keep in mind that it's one ball, one throw, and then that Pokemon disappears forever. That's part of why we say good luck and good balls, because it is luck when it comes to RNGs out there. Just like the yellow buzz or the other notifications on the Go Plus, oh wait, no, that wouldn't be that way. There will be the notification sent through your phone with the Adventure Sync when it's enabled. I haven't seen anything that specifically says that it's been enabled. It says that it's been enabled in the US and other countries as well, Meanwhile, it is still being rolled out to other countries. So we believe that certain features have not fully unlocked with it, as we just now got Gen 5 and haven't had a lot of people having Adventure Sync notifications go off for them. Now, once we get more information on this, we'll be sure to share it with the group. It'll be on social media and all over. The other thing we wanted to bring up at this time of the show is the Trick Talk segment. Now, our Trick Talk segment this week is about glancing Pokemon. Quite simply, when you go to encounter a Pokemon, the map zooms in. That zooming in is actually the Pokemon shifting towards you, in front of you. And if you were to run from that Pokemon will continue to face in the same direction. Now, this feature is a beautiful little bit of aesthetic, augmented reality nature, as it makes the map feel alive and more than just a map overlay that you're just walking through and click, 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 there's a Pokemon. But the best part about this is, should you have encountered a Pokemon that you wanted to go back to, or if you're shiny checking, what you'll actually do is you click on the Pokemon, and the Pokemon that was facing the direction that you were, should you be moving, that was facing where you were front and center. So, say there's an Oddish over there. That Oddish, I click on it, it's facing me in this direction. If I walk that way, it's still going to be facing this direction. So you got to do a little geometry if you're still walking and going around. But it's a great trick if you're shiny checking. That way you can actually figure out which ones you've encountered, which ones you haven't. Except for some of those weird Pokemon that look the same from top down. So they only have like a little pink nose sticking out. Swinub, I'm looking at you. A little difficult to find them sometimes. Swinub Community Day, that was a tricky one. But Community Day is definitely the one that you want to keep an eye out for, because this trick, if you're only shiny checking, which shiny checking has its merits, but it doesn't get you the max amount of shinies as... Sorry, hamster fell off the wheel there. So, I'm not a scientist, but I enjoy the practice of science. So, if we find a way to test it out, we'll let you know. But the glancing trick is our Trick Talk segment this week. So check it out on TikTok or on our various social medias, or maybe I'll splice it in here. We'll figure it out. But anyway, good luck, good balls with that trick. On to the next.